Welcome to Cool Guy Podcast, how Dubai went from a desert to a $1 trillion city.
So let's start with a picture. 70 years ago, you have a small, almost forgotten pearling village. We're talking no electricity, no running water.
Right, basically nothing.
And today, it's a metropolis that ranks third in the world for skyscrapers, right behind New York and Hong Kong. How does that even happen? How do you turn a desert backwater into that?
It's one of the most incredible transformations of the last century. And that's our mission today, really, to trace the key decisions, the huge gambles that took them from a collapsed economy to what you could call the first post-oil economy in the Middle East.
And that original economy was purling. It was everything, wasn't it? I saw a figure that said it made up something like 95% of the entire Persian Gulf's economy.
It was everything. But in 1929, it gets hit by this perfect storm.
The dual disaster.
Exactly. First, the Great Depression hits, and nobody's buying luxury goods like pearls. And then, at the exact same time, the Japanese perfect the cultured pearl.
So a much cheaper, mass-produced alternative floods the market.
And Dubai's industry is wiped out forever. They were left with pretty much nothing.
And that failure, that complete collapse, seems to be what informed everything that came next.
It's the key. Sheikh Rashid, who took over in 1958, was obsessed with diversification because of it.
Yeah.
He had that famous saying, right?
My grandfather rode a camel, my father rode a camel, I drive a Mercedes.
But my son will ride a camel. He knew the oil wouldn't last forever, even before it became the main source of income.
But he didn't wait for the oil money to start building. And this is what I think is the crazy gamble part of the story. He started taking out huge loans.
Huge loans.
Yeah.
With basically just the promise of future trade revenue to back them up. He started these, massive urban projects that investors thought were just insane.
Like dredging the Dubai Creek in 1961 so bigger ships could get in, or building an international airport.
Yes. Everyone thought it was unnecessary, but he understood something fundamental. He believed infrastructure creates demand. You don't wait for it. You build the system first, and the business will follow.
And then oil was discovered in 66.
It was. But, and this is crucial for you to understand, Dubai's reserves were pretty small, only about 4% of the UAE's total oil, 10 times less than Abu Dhabi had.
So the oil wasn't the end goal. It was the fuel.
Precisely. It was seed money. It was used to accelerate the strategy that was already in motion: trade, logistics, infrastructure. It was a tool for diversification.
Which is why today oil is, less than 5% of Dubai's GDP, down from almost 60% in the 70s?
A complete flip. And then under his son, Sheikh Mohammed, the strategy evolved. He adopted that philosophy from the American architect Daniel Burnham.
Plan big.
Plan big. That gave us the whole biggest and tallest era. Think of the Burj Al Arab, that billion-dollar sail-shaped hotel on its own artificial island.
Or the Palm Jumeirah, the $12 billion land reclamation project.
And of course, the Burj Khalifa in 2010, the world's tallest building, 828 meters. I mean, just the steel alone was 55,000 tons. The sheer ambition is just staggering.
But that kind of rapid, massive construction, it always raises the question of the human cost.
It does. And it's a serious one. This kind of growth was only possible because of an overwhelming reliance on foreign workers.
The number is stunning. It's 88% of the population, right?
Almost 9 out of 10 people. And this has led to years of, very serious criticism about labor issues, low wages, and really poor conditions on those huge construction sites. There were some reforms in 2017, but it's still a major point of criticism.
And yet, from a purely strategic point of view, the projects worked. They cemented Dubai's place as a global logistics hub.
They absolutely did. You have the Jebel Ali port, the world's largest man-made harbor. You have the launch of Emirates Airlines, and critically, the creation of free zones like JAFZA.
Right. Those special economic zones with major tax breaks, they account for a huge chunk of the economy.
Over 20% of GDP comes from them. So when you zoom out, the formula was a combination of things. Embracing free trade, being tolerant enough for international business like allowing alcohol, and just a willingness to take these enormous, almost existential risks.
So we've seen the whole arc, from a purling village shattered by technology to a strategic powerhouse built on, really, sheer ambition, all funded by a surprisingly modest amount of oil.
The whole story is a masterclass in strategic risk. But it does leave you with one final provocative thought. Given that Dubai is so reliant on an 88% foreign workforce, people who have almost no chance of ever getting citizenship, has Dubai really broken the resource curse? Or 100 years from now, will this unique demographic situation create a whole new set of problems? That's something for you to ponder.